see the challenges of humanity and be ready to be activated by God to do something. It's not how big it is. We don't know, and this is maybe a good time to bring up the butterfly effect. The concept is that if a butterfly beats its wings in China, by the time it affects another piece of wind and another breeze here, and it can cause a tornado in Oklahoma. You don't know when some act of kindness, some act of concern, some sharing of some truth to somebody has an effect that turns out to change a nation. Because it moved through the population and actually made it. You don't need to know what God's going to use you for. You just need to be there doing what God asks you to do. He will take your understanding, your gift of service, and make it effective. You probably won't know until you're in the Alpha Kingdom what actually happened. You don't need to know who you are. You just need to be available to the Spirit and power of God.
Can I interject with a question?
Surely.
So related to this quote, which mentions pious worship, and earlier you had talked about the monks or the priests who extricate themselves from, let's say, the realities of the world in order to become more spiritual, but that in this dispensation, really you need to immerse yourself in society to reach those higher levels. So what are some of the habits that we need to acquire in our daily life in order to develop that spirituality but still be connected to all of this materialism?
Well, in Tabernacles of Unity, which is the latest book that's been translated for us, Baha'u'llah makes it very clear, when it's all said and done, we have to help people see the beauty of the sun of reality and its shining truth. The unity of mankind, the well-being of mankind, which can only best be served by the unity of the human family. We need to shine the light of what is really the goal of this particular age. And as a result, it's less about, how should I say it, hardcore studying, but keep facing the light. Keep looking into the light on a daily basis. And of course, say our prayers as we know we're supposed to. And every morning, read something from the writings of Baha'u'llah and Abdu'l-Baha, and something every night before you go to bed. Now, I can only say some of the greatest moments of my life have come when I picked up a book and I read out of nowhere a passage, and it just struck me that it was like God's voice speaking to me. I think that the habit of really just doing what we know we're supposed to do, and at the same time, keep looking at the beauty of truth, the beauty of life, the beauty of what's good. But also, whenever we do pick up the Word of God, to treat it with great respect and read it with the idea there might be a message for me tonight or this morning that I should do. And of course, you can do this any time of day, when you feel like it, when you're particularly having to make a decision. I think it's the habit of believing that random exposure to the writings has great power, along with the student. But when you do see something and it really does move you, take it serious. Sometimes it really is the way God is guiding you to an action, a behavior. I've actually wound up going in and telling my wife, we're moving. We're on our way. She says, I don't want to go. I said, I can't help it. I feel like we're supposed to go. I read a passage in Tablet of Divine Plan. It's time to move to the south. Well, we wound up packing in, all because I somehow made a connection that it was time to move from Massachusetts to somewhere in the south, and eventually we narrowed it down, asking and seeking to know that it was Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And only because of reading the writing and having a sense of things, and having once driven through the city and got a feeling. So a couple of years later, I wake up one morning, in fact, it was December the 27th, 1987 that I was sitting there saying my prayers, reading the tablets, and it dawned on me, it's time. It's time for me to pack up and leave. So I went into the bedroom. My wife was asleep. I said, excuse me, Joanne, I've had one of those experiences again. She's half awake. Oh no, not again. I don't want to go anywhere. I said, no, Joanne, we've got to go. There's no doubt we have to go. But you get to choose between Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, or Virginia. Now I'm saying to myself, if she says Chapel Hill, North Carolina, I know this is all from God. She says, I don't want to go, but if I have to go, there's only one place I'd even think of going. Chapel Hill, North Carolina. It says, done, babe, we're going. Now, is this the way it always works? No, I'm not going to tell you that. I'm sharing with you one person who cares, who wants to make it his part of the cause alive. I want to serve. I want to do my part. This is how it's worked for me. It's been wonderful. I have seen others who also have had faith and trust that God is guiding their life and do remarkable things. They go to strange, weird countries, live under horrible conditions because the Spirit is guiding them to carry out God's purpose. I just want to encourage all of us to realize it's our time. It's our turn. Generations have gone before us, but now it's time for us. Moving on.
We'll read quote 49. My hope for you is that as you travel through the universe of existence, you will ever become acquainted with new and wonderful significances, that your knowledge will ever be increased, knowledge without limitation. Then you will understand the realities existing in all kingdoms. Capacity is in accordance with striving and sincerity.
That's one of the other things. We have to make an effort. God guides those who make an effort for God. Somewhere along the line, each one of us is given an opportunity to make an effort and to trust that that effort will be rewarded with a good service.
So we continue with quote 50. Whoso maketh efforts for us in our ways, shall we assuredly guide him. And furthermore, fear God, and God will give you knowledge.
We're not talking about fear God meaning be afraid. Fear God in this context means have respect for the reality that God is. And God is moving through His Spirit through the human world. And we want to, shall we say, have our share. But we have to respect the idea that this is real. And if you do, God will enlighten you.
We continue with quote 51. The bestowals of God which are manifest in all phenomenal life are sometimes hidden by intervening veils of mental and mortal vision, which render man spiritually blind and incapable. But when those scales are removed and the veils are rent asunder, then the great signs of God will become visible, and he will witness the eternal light filling the world.
So we have to pierce the veils of mental and mortal vision, or the normal life. I used to tell my children, God save you from a normal life. Don't live normal. Rise above the normal life. And watch the veils of life, the illusionary world, get rent asunder. And when you do, you'll begin to see the signs of guidance in your life.
Quote 52. We have consumed this densest of all veils with the fire of the love of the beloved. The veil referred to in the saying, the most grievous of all veils is the veil of knowledge. Upon its ashes, we have reared the tabernacle of divine knowledge. We have, praised be to God, burned the veils of glory with the fire of the beauty of the best beloved.